Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Taiwan swirl, which I've seen a long time ago and I've never really tried it myself. So here we go. And I'm just using a simple color palette today, just the black and white. My white I get from Wholesale Supplies Plus and it's called White Champagne. And then the black I get also from Wholesale Supplies Plus. It's called Black Night Mica. And all I'm doing here is just mixing it in with my MCT oil. It's just basically a liquid at room temperature version of coconut oil. Sometimes you can even get this in the health store, but I just get it from Wholesale Supplies Plus. So anyway, I'm just mixing them up pretty good. You can't go wrong with black and white. It's just a good contrasting color palette. I have this color Arctic Gold, which I got from a company called TKB Supply, and it's in this little cup because it comes in a pouch and I just didn't want it in there. But anyway, I use these colors for nail polish, and I haven't done nail polish in a while, but I really do love this color and I'm hoping to make it work someday. And it didn't really work in this one, but you'll see later why. Anyway, so I melted down my hard oils and poured in my liquid oils to get the temperature down to, it's at 109. And the fragrance that I'm using today is Cucumber Melon, and I've had this fragrance forever and I don't even remember where I got it from, so I will just link a substitute that you can check out from, you know, either Wholesale Supplies Plus or Nature Garden Candles, which is where I normally get my fragrances. I'm adding my lye. This recipe is actually the same as the budget soap recipe, so all it is lard, coconut oil, and canola oil. And I'm not as concerned with the temperature, even though I do have it at 90 something degrees. I'm not as concerned because in the past I have noticed that this recipe does not move very fast. So I felt comfortable just, you know, mixing it at a little bit of a higher temperature than usual, and I used my stick blender a little bit longer than I normally do as well. So the goal with Taiwan Swirl is to divide your mold into 3 or 4 sections, and in my case I divided it into 3 sections. So in order to get my colors to do what I needed them to do, I just took my total batter value, which was 50 ounces, and divided it by 3. And then I measured out that third portion to make the white, and then I'm using double the amount for the black. So I'm going to have 2 sections of black and 1 section of white. And to reduce dishes, I just put my black in the melting pot here. Also, you'll notice that my batter is pretty thin. This is, I mean, it is emulsified. I could tell that with the stick blender, but it is very thin. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of times when you have really thin batter like that, depending on the technique that you're using, it can end up looking really fantastic, but then if it's too jarring, it can make your colors mix together and make them muddled. So in this case, since everything is separated into thirds, it ends up working out just fine. So one of the things that I tend to do is I'll change my technique sometimes halfway through. So what you see here is me adding a little bit of gold veining into the black section. And ultimately, it doesn't really show up very well in the final product, but you'll see that here in a bit. And in case you can't notice, I have all my dividers in there, so I had to stop and change it to just 3. So since my batter is so thin, there is the risk that you run into that it will seep out underneath the divider, which you can kind of see in this case. It does do that. Mica veining, the reason it also doesn't show up very well in the final product is also because it's too thin. So usually if you're doing mica veining, you want the oil to sit on the soap, not necessarily blend in with it, which is kind of what it's doing here. So it's making a very feathered pattern, which can be really pretty, but in this case it just didn't work out very well. So I do have some leftover batter in my cups, and this is my first time actually using dividers that were pre-made for these molds. So I was kind of playing by ear here, and I think I could have filled them up a little bit higher before taking the dividers out, because what ends up happening is I have to just pour the rest of the batter to meet the top of the mold anyway. And when you're doing that and you want to try to keep these crisp, clean lines, you can see it kind of like burst out on the side there, and it's going to pull some of the batter because it's so thin. yeah, you just want to be cautious about that. So now what I'm doing, and this is where the Arctic gold comes in, I thought I would make a fancy swirl on top with this very beautiful, it's like almost got a purple undertone to it, but it's a gold, and I wanted to create this swirl on top. But because there's a couple different reasons. So one, I did mention that the thinness of the batter, so you can see it spreading on the top. And to do the Taiwan swirl, you do have to go back and forth like this, and it does spread it a little bit more. So you want to kind of pull the batter, and the thinness of the batter does work in this favor here. But ultimately, when I cut the loaf, I have to cut it the way I would a wood grain soap. So a horizontal cut, which means I'm going to lose my entire top. And it could have been pretty, even though it did spread out on the top like that, it could have been pretty, I guess, as a regular top. But yeah, as I was cutting this, I realized that I needed to cut it horizontal style to make the pattern come out. So just to reiterate, all I did to create the Taiwan swirl was take my chopstick and go back and forth in the batter, and then go around the perimeter to create this kind of feathering. So if I cut it the regular way, you can see it wouldn't look right. So anyway, but it does give me a good visual with that glitter on top to see what the top is. So I turn it to the side, I trim off the top there. So bye-bye Arctic gold. And then you get this beautiful Taiwan swirl underneath. So as you can see here, it's a very nice contrasting swirl, and it's just, it's a very elegant design. So you can do multiple colors for this. Like I said, I only chose a simple color palette of just the black and white, but I can imagine if you do like multiple colors in there, or two complementary colors or something like that, I can see that working out really nicely. But just remember, you have to do the horizontal cut on this. And you can kind of tell that my soap is a little soft when I unmolded this, but it still came out really nice, and it cut really cleanly, and just these lines look great. I think it turned out really pretty, and it smells really fantastic. And so yeah, here's the final result and cleaned up pictures. This is my Black Knight mica here. This is the white champagne, and there's the King Tut that you can see in the corner. And just to reiterate, I used a cucumber melon fragrance that I can't remember where I got it from, so I will let you know where you can get some cucumber melon fragrance for yourself. And yeah, here's the close-up brick version. You can kind of see some of that gold in there, but ultimately it's kind of hidden from just the fact that the batter was just so thin. But anyway, let me know what you thought of the Taiwan swirl. If you made it this far, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and comment below what you think and if you've tried this swirl yourself. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!